In life, most people are driven by impulse, reacting to situations as they come, letting emotions rule their decisions. They speak before thinking, act before planning, and chase recognition without understanding the cost. If you want to become someone truly cold, calculated, and respected, you must step away from this chaos and adopt a mindset few dare to cultivate. This isn't about cruelty for the sake of it. It's about mastering yourself and the environment around you in a way that ensures you are never manipulated, never underestimated, and always in control. The first rule is deceptively simple. Know yourself more than anyone else. Most people live without true introspection. They fear facing their own weaknesses, ignoring patterns in their behavior that leave them vulnerable. Understanding your strengths and limitations allows you to manipulate circumstances in your favor. It's the foundation of control because you can't predict or influence the world until you understand your own motives and triggers. The second rule is observe everything and speak selectively. Words are a tool, not a weapon to release unfiltered emotion. Those who speak constantly reveal their intentions, fears, and desires before others even notice. By carefully choosing when and what to say, you remain unpredictable, a figure others respect because they cannot read you like an open book. Silence in the right moments carries more power than any speech. Third, embrace calculated detachment. Most people get caught in the emotional undertow of anger, envy, or infatuation. These emotions cloud judgment and make you vulnerable. By learning to distance yourself from the immediate allure of pleasure or the sting of insult, you preserve clarity. You don't act impulsively. Instead, you wait for the optimal moment to execute a decision. This detachment is not apathy, it is strategy. Fourth, control your image relentlessly. How others perceive you can often dictate their behavior more than your actual power. Maintain an aura of competence, confidence, and unshakable composure. Avoid overexposure, exaggeration, or unnecessary displays of weakness. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Respect grows when others are unsure of your limits, when your presence inspires admiration or even a subtle fear of crossing you. Fifth, anticipate reactions before they occur. People are predictable, but only if you study them carefully. Every action has a ripple effect, and by considering how others will respond to your moves, you maintain initiative. This foresight prevents surprises and allows you to manipulate outcomes subtly. You don't need to dominate overtly. Sometimes the most potent control is invisible, executed through influence rather than force. Sixth, value results over intentions. Many are lost in the noble pursuit of good intentions or fair play, thinking that effort alone earns respect. True respect is earned by outcomes. Your plans must be effective, your decisions precise, and your execution flawless. In the eyes of the world, power and respect are awarded to those who deliver results consistently, regardless of whether others see the struggle behind them. Seventh, never appear desperate. Desperation signals weakness. Whether seeking approval, allies, or opportunity, conceal your urgency. The more you reveal your need, the more others will exploit it. A calm, measured approach ensures that people treat you as an equal, never a subordinate. Eighth, manage alliances strategically. People are useful, but they are also unpredictable. Choose allies who advance your objectives, but never rely on loyalty blindly. Monitor their motives, maintain your independence, and always be ready to pivot if circumstances change. True power is not in blind trust, but in calculated collaboration. Ninth, embrace discomfort to expand control. Most people avoid challenge and risk. By willingly stepping into situations others flee, you cultivate resilience and insight that cannot be taught. Discomfort reveals weaknesses in yourself and others and becomes a playground where calculated minds thrive while the unprepared falter. Finally, the 10th rule is perhaps the most crucial. Master time as your weapon. Patience is not passive. It is the deliberate choice to wait for the exact moment when your actions have maximum impact. Rash moves diminish influence. Timely moves amplify it. Respect and fear grow in those who seem to move with intention, appearing only when their presence shifts the balance of any situation. To become cold, calculated, and respected, you must internalize these 10 rules. They are not mere guidelines. They are a mindset. Those who adopt them see the world differently. Decisions become less about emotion and more about leverage. Relationships are navigated with foresight. Challenges are approached with strategy, and chaos becomes a tool rather than a threat. This path is not easy. It requires discipline, honesty with oneself, and a relentless commitment to observation, strategy, and control. But the reward is a presence that commands attention and respect without unnecessary conflict. In mastering these principles, you step beyond the ordinary. You become a figure others notice not just because of what you do, but because of the calm, calculated power that emanates from you. You become untouchable in the sense that very few can predict, manipulate, or intimidate you. You are the architect of your life, unshaken by opinion, unaffected by emotion, and feared only in the sense that people sense your deliberate mastery. This is the starting point, the foundation for the rules that follow, a mindset that transforms potential into silent authority and chaos into order under your command. Number 2, rules for becoming cold. The second layer of becoming cold, calculated and respected, is learning the art of perception management. How people see you often matters more than who you truly are. They don't experience your thoughts, your discipline, or your strategy. They only witness your presence, your actions, and your decisions. If you want to be respected, you must engineer perception carefully. One of the most subtle tactics is control your emotional exposure. People respect those who appear unshaken, unflappable, and self-assured. Anger, frustration, or excessive joy are signals that you are reactive rather than proactive. Learn to conceal your feelings in public and allow only carefully chosen moments to reveal emotion. This restraint creates an aura of authority, a quiet power that others instinctively acknowledge. Another essential aspect is command attention without overreaching. People naturally gravitate toward confidence, but arrogance or constant display diminishes influence. Speak less, move deliberately, and let your achievements hint at your capabilities. The more you allow others to infer your strength, the more they respect it. Subtlety and presence often outweighs any grand display. Equally important is mastering the balance between generosity and detachment. Generosity can build alliances and loyalty, but indiscriminate giving signals weakness. Offer assistance selectively, reward effort strategically, and maintain an air of independence. By doing this, you make others feel valued, yet they remain aware that your power is autonomous and not beholden to them. The next element is learn the rhythm of influence. Control is rarely seized in a single move. It is applied gradually, in layers, with small but deliberate shifts that shape perception over time. People rarely notice manipulation if it is subtle and consistent. Each action, word, or decision should be part of a calculated pattern that reinforces your position without triggering suspicion or resistance. Understanding influence also means recognizing the weight of unpredictability. Predictable actions are easy to counter. By varying your responses, remaining composed, and occasionally surprising those around you, you prevent others from developing assumptions about you. This unpredictability generates caution, ensuring that your presence is taken seriously and your decisions carry weight. Another critical rule is anticipate needs and fears before they are expressed. People respond to threats and opportunities often before they articulate them. By noticing patterns, desires, and anxieties, you can act preemptively. Whether in business, relationships, or social dynamics, this ability to anticipate allows you to guide outcomes while maintaining the appearance of neutrality. It also fosters the sense that your influence is intuitive, almost inevitable, an impression that elevates your status in any group. Next, learn to withdraw strategically. Absence can enhance respect. People often undervalue what is always available. By creating periods of intentional distance, you heighten your presence, making interactions with you feel more significant. Withdrawal is not avoidance. It is a calculated tool to increase your leverage and ensure that your value is recognized. The following principle is, observe before acting. Patience is not weakness. It is power under restraint. When faced with conflict, decision-making, or negotiation, gather all information first. Watch behaviors, listen attentively, and wait for patterns to emerge. Those who act immediately often reveal intentions, desires, and weaknesses. By contrast, the calculated observer always maintains the upper hand. Finally, integrate subtle dominance in everyday interactions. Power does not need to be obvious to be effective. A calm tone, measured gestures, and strategic pauses communicate authority far more than loud words or displays of force. Mastering these subtleties transforms ordinary conversations into exercises of influence. People may not consciously realize they are being guided, yet they follow, align, or defer based on your controlled presence. In sum, Section 2 is about controlling perception, mastering subtle influence, and creating a disciplined presence. It is where your emotional restraint, careful observation, and strategic patience converge to form a persona that commands attention and respect without overt aggression. The people around you respond not just to what you say, but to the deliberate calm, foresight, and authority embedded in every interaction. This is the skill that separates the ordinary from the untouchable, the reactive from the proactive, the emotionally driven from the strategically powerful. By mastering these principles, you begin to move silently yet decisively through any environment, establishing influence and control without unnecessary conflict, and setting the stage for the more advanced rules that follow. Respect, after all, is less about fear and more about the quiet, unwavering impression that your decisions carry weight and your judgment is beyond question. Number 3, power of strategic alliances. Section 3 builds on perception by emphasizing the power of strategic alliances and selective loyalty. Respect and influence are rarely achieved in isolation. The people around you can either amplify your authority or undermine it. The key is learning to choose allies deliberately, those whose strengths complement your weaknesses and whose ambitions align with your long-term objectives. Forming alliances is not about friendship or emotional bonds. It is about leveraging resources, influence, and information. The most effective alliances are often silent and understated. They appear natural, even coincidental, but are meticulously planned. By aligning with the right individuals, you create a network of power that enhances your autonomy, while simultaneously providing cover and leverage in challenging situations. A core rule here is never overcommit loyalty. While loyalty to your allies can strengthen relationships and engender trust, it must never compromise your autonomy. Be generous with support, but maintain the ability to pivot when circumstances shift. Those who become too dependent on you or who perceive complete loyalty may test boundaries or attempt to control your decisions. Calculated independence ensures that alliances serve you rather than the other way around. Section 3 also stresses the importance of reading intentions and motivations. Every individual has a personal agenda. To be truly respected and untouchable, you must recognize these agendas before they become obstacles. Pay attention to subtle cues, tone of voice, choice of words, body language, and consistency of behavior. The skilled strategist interprets these signals to predict actions, influence outcomes, and position themselves advantageously. Understanding motivations allows you to preempt challenges, frame proposals persuasively, and create leverage without overt confrontation. Another key principle is timing your interventions with precision. Influence is most effective when delivered at the moment of maximum impact. Speak or act too early, and your efforts may be ignored or resisted. Too late, and opportunities may vanish. The cold, calculated individual develops patience as a tool, waiting for the optimal moment to assert ideas, redirect decisions, or consolidate power. Timing also relates to restraint. Knowing when to act and when to remain silent is as important as the action itself. Control the flow of information within your sphere of influence. Knowledge is a currency more valuable than gold in most scenarios. Those who possess critical insights hold unspoken power. By managing what is shared, withheld, or emphasized, you shape perceptions, guide decisions, and maintain leverage. Equally critical is the ability to create ambiguity. The calculated strategist rarely reveals complete intentions. Ambiguity generates caution, makes others second-guess their assumptions, and enhances your authority. People respect those whose motives are measured and unpredictable, as it forces them to operate within the framework you establish. Section 3 also highlights the strategic use of scarcity and exclusivity. Make your time, resources, or presence selective. People naturally value what is rare or difficult to obtain. By cultivating scarcity, whether of attention, opportunity, or engagement, you increase your influence while ensuring that interactions with you are meaningful and carry weight. Finally, this section underscores the balance between intimidation and approachability. Cold calculation does not necessitate overt hostility. Intimidation can be subtle, psychological, or symbolic. A calm gaze, a measured statement, or an unwavering stance communicates power without aggression. Simultaneously, being approachable in certain controlled contexts fosters communication, builds alliances, and allows influence to operate behind the scenes. The most respected figures achieve dominance without overt displays of force, using perception, timing, alliances, and restraint as their tools. To summarize, Section 3 transforms respect from a passive recognition into a dynamic interplay of alliances, information control, timing, and strategic subtlety. It is about positioning yourself at the center of influence, anticipating challenges, and acting with precision. Those who master these principles move beyond superficial authority. They operate as quiet architects of power, shaping decisions, directing outcomes, and commanding respect without needing to shout, threaten, or dominate overtly. The combination of calculated alliances, selective loyalty, keen observation, and mastery of timing positions you as someone whose presence alone guides events, ensuring that respect is both earned and maintained consistently. This is the essence of becoming untouchable, not through force, but through deliberate, silent strategy that others may not even realize is at work. Number 4. Maintain composure under pressure. Section 4 shifts focus from alliances and observation to the internal mastery required to maintain composure under pressure. True respect and power are not solely derived from external manipulation. They originate in the ability to control emotions, anticipate reactions, and operate without personal attachment. The cold, calculated individual cultivates a mind that is impervious to external agitation. This does not mean emotionless existence, but rather emotional discipline, the capacity to feel without being dominated by feelings. When faced with betrayal, criticism, or provocation, the response is deliberate, measured, and strategic. Those who lack this control often react impulsively, revealing weaknesses, compromising authority, and losing respect. A fundamental principle in this section is the detachment from outcomes. While ambition and goals are necessary, attachment to a specific result can cloud judgment. The calculated strategist pursues objectives with intensity, but maintains the flexibility to adjust tactics when circumstances change. By separating effort from expectation, you avoid desperation, frustration, and predictable behavior. Section 4 also emphasizes the cultivation of a formidable presence. Respect is often first conveyed through appearance, posture, and demeanor. A calm, steady, and confident presence projects authority even before words are spoken. Physical gestures, tone, and pacing must align with the image of control, as subtle cues communicate dominance or weakness faster than overt statements. Another critical lesson is the management of information and secrecy. Those who reveal too much of their thinking expose vulnerabilities. Those who conceal their intentions maintain an aura of unpredictability. Knowledge of others' plans and weaknesses allows for strategic intervention, while protecting your own keeps adversaries cautious. Silence in many cases is more powerful than speech. Section 4 further highlights the strategic use of pressure and tension. Power is often reinforced not through constant assertion, but through calculated tension. By creating situations in which others are compelled to act within the parameters you set, you guide decisions and subtly assert dominance. This can be achieved through selective withholding, careful questioning, or introducing choices that seem free but are inherently constrained. A vital principle is anticipating human reactions. The calculated individual studies patterns, tendencies, and likely emotional responses. By understanding predictable behaviors, you can craft environments and interactions that maximize compliance, cooperation, or advantage, while minimizing conflict and unpredictability. Section 4 also stresses the cultivation of self-reliance. Dependence on others for validation, resources, or decision-making is a vulnerability. Developing internal resources, critical thinking, and confidence ensures that you are never held hostage to another's whims. Respect grows when others recognize your autonomy and ability to navigate challenges independently. Additionally, this section addresses the art of measured confrontation. Conflict is inevitable, but how it is handled defines reputation. Direct aggression often provokes resistance or resentment. The cold, calculated approach uses indirect pressure, strategic questioning, and subtle influence to assert position while maintaining an appearance of control and fairness. This approach maintains authority without unnecessary escalation. Section 4 also introduces the power of consistent habits and routines. Discipline in action signals reliability, predictability in standards, and unwavering dedication. Others instinctively respect those who demonstrate self-mastery over chaos and disorder. Consistency cultivates authority. Inconsistency invites doubt and manipulation. In conclusion, Section 4 combines emotional discipline, presence, secrecy, anticipation, and self-reliance to fortify the foundation of respect. External strategies, alliances, and influence are magnified only when paired with internal mastery. A calculated, composed individual remains untouchable not by intimidation or force alone, but by the quiet, persistent demonstration of control over self and situation. Those who can act decisively, maintain calm under pressure, and adapt strategically command a level of respect that is both enduring and unquestionable. The essence of this section is that true power begins within. The cold, calculated mind is untouchable because it is disciplined, deliberate, and immune to chaos, enabling influence to flow seamlessly from internal mastery to external domination. Number 5, strategic manipulation of perception, section 5. Delves into the strategic manipulation of perception, the understanding that respect and influence are often shaped as much by what others believe as by reality itself. In the game of power, perception becomes a weapon. Those who master this principle learn to craft an image that conveys authority, intelligence, and control, even when uncertainty exists behind the scenes. People rarely question appearances. They respond to what they see, interpret, and assume. Therefore, carefully managing how you are viewed amplifies your influence and safeguards your position. A central tenet of this section is the art of calculated reputation management. A solid reputation serves as a silent enforcer of respect, predisposing others to treat you seriously, defer to your judgment, and hesitate before challenging you. Reputation is fragile, however. It can be shaped through consistent action, careful communication, and, when necessary, subtle exaggeration. By controlling narratives, whether in conversation, public statements, or symbolic gestures, you can solidify your standing while undermining potential rivals without direct confrontation. Another key principle discussed in Section 5 is the power of selective generosity and calculated restraint. Giving, whether in the form of praise, resources, or attention, should never be indiscriminate. When offered selectively, it creates indebtedness, reinforces loyalty, and heightens your perceived value. Restraint, conversely, cultivates mystery and deters exploitation. A master strategist knows exactly when to act and when to remain silent, preserving both influence and energy. Section 5 also highlights the use of ambiguity and unpredictability as tools of control. A predictable individual is easily manipulated. A strategically unpredictable one keeps observers cautious and hesitant. By occasionally acting contrary to expectations in subtle, non-damaging ways, you maintain an air of autonomy and independence that discourages attempts to dominate or undermine you. This unpredictability must be balanced with consistency and core principles, ensuring that your credibility remains intact even as your tactics remain fluid. The section further examines the psychological leverage of authority and timing. Knowing when to intervene, when to speak, and when to defer creates a rhythm of influence that others unconsciously follow. Timing can amplify small actions into decisive outcomes, while impatience or mistimed gestures can erode credibility. The cold, calculated individual observes patterns, gauges readiness, and delivers influence with precision, creating an almost invisible chain of command over interactions. Section 5 also emphasizes the importance of strategic alliances, but alliances forged with caution and foresight. Relationships are instruments, not mere social comforts. Aligning with those who increase your influence, provide critical information, or amplify your reputation multiplies power exponentially. However, choosing allies recklessly invites betrayal or imbalance. A careful strategist evaluates motivations, loyalty, and long-term utility before forming or maintaining connections. Another critical aspect is the manipulation of attention and visibility. Influence is often a product of focus. Those who dominate attention dominate perception. By controlling what others notice, through selective communication, appearance, or symbolic acts, you can shape opinions, prioritize your objectives, and direct interactions without overt force. Subtlety in these actions ensures that your influence feels natural to observers rather than coerced. Section 5 further introduces the calculated use of intimidation and respect without aggression. True authority does not rely solely on fear, but fear can reinforce respect when balanced with fairness and competence. Demonstrating capabilities, decisive action, and unwavering standards communicates dominance silently. This creates a psychological barrier that discourages opposition while preserving professional relationships. Finally, the section stresses the enduring power of patience in shaping perception. Influence is rarely immediate. It accrues over time through repeated demonstrations of intelligence, composure, strategic insight, and discipline. Patience allows you to consolidate gains, wait for rivals to overreach, and act decisively when conditions are most advantageous. Those who rush or act impulsively reveal vulnerability and invite challenges. In conclusion, Section 5 teaches that control over perception through reputation, selective action, timing, alliances, attention, and calculated unpredictability magnifies the authority of the cold, calculated individual. By mastering how others see and interpret your actions, you create a self-reinforcing cycle of respect, influence, and dominance. Power is no longer imposed merely through action. It is felt by those around you, absorbed into their assumptions, and respected almost instinctively. The essence of this section is that influence is a shadow of mastery. When perception aligns with strategic intent, you become untouchable not only in action, but in the minds of everyone who observes you. Number 6, ultimate mastery of self and others. Section 6 brings the principles together, revealing the ultimate mastery of self and others, the state where cold calculation meets effortless respect. Here, the individual transforms from reactive to proactive, no longer merely responding to circumstances but shaping them. The essence of this section is internal dominance, the understanding that the most potent form of power begins within. To command respect externally, you must first command yourself. Emotions, impulses, and desires become instruments, not masters. Self-discipline is the foundation. Anger, envy, or anxiety, if unchecked, diminishes authority. By regulating reactions and maintaining composure in all situations, you project stability and control, qualities that others instinctively recognize as power. Section 6 emphasizes the fusion of intelligence and decisiveness. Knowledge alone is insufficient without action. Action without intelligence breeds vulnerability. The cold, calculated individual observes, evaluates, and then executes with precision. Every word, gesture, and decision is measured, ensuring maximum effect with minimal exposure. In essence, mastery is both thoughtful and relentless. Another core principle in this section is the cultivation of strategic silence. Speaking less than necessary, revealing only what strengthens your position, and letting others fill the gaps creates influence without confrontation. Silence fosters mystery, encourages projection, and forces others to reveal intentions prematurely. By choosing when to speak and when to remain unreadable, you maintain authority in both social and professional spheres. Section 6 also explores the art of emotional detachment. While empathy and social awareness remain tools, attachment to outcomes, opinions, or personal grudges can cloud judgment. Detachment allows clarity, preventing manipulation and bias. By remaining aloof yet observant, the individual preserves freedom of action, unshaken by the emotional tides that sway less disciplined minds. Another critical aspect is the orchestration of calculated risk. Fear of failure often paralyzes action, but measured risk-taking separates leaders from followers. Assessing scenarios, anticipating consequences, and acting decisively, even when stakes are high, demonstrates competence and reinforces respect. The calculated individual avoids recklessness but understands that inaction can be more dangerous than risk. Section 6 further teaches the power of consistency in principles with adaptability and tactics. Respect is earned through reliability. Others trust someone whose core values remain intact. Yet rigid tactics invite defeat. Flexibility in approach ensures resilience. This balance between steadfastness and adaptability makes you simultaneously predictable in integrity, but unpredictable in execution, a paradox that commands obedience and admiration. The section also highlights the long-term cultivation of authority. Influence is not fleeting. It is a construct built over time through persistent demonstration of competence, strategic insight, and unflappable temperament. Each interaction, decision, and outcome contributes to a legacy of respect. Those who recognize this understand that true power is patient, cumulative, and self-reinforcing. Finally, Section 6 presents the culmination, untouchability through mastery. When calculation, discipline, perception management, strategic relationships, patience, and emotional intelligence converge, you reach a state where respect is automatic. Influence is pervasive, and opposition becomes inconsequential. Others act within the gravitational pull of your authority, often unaware of the precise mechanics that produced it. You become cold not in cruelty, but in clarity, calculated not in manipulation alone, but in disciplined strategy, and respected not merely in fear, but in recognition of superior mastery. In conclusion, Section 6 teaches that becoming cold, calculated, and respected is not about overt domination, coercion, or aggression. It is about honing every internal and external tool to perfection. Power, influence, and respect are the natural byproducts of mastery over self, timing, perception, and circumstance. The individual who internalizes these lessons moves through the world untouchable, shaping outcomes with silent authority, commanding respect effortlessly, and navigating human behavior with precision. By the end of this journey, the cold, calculated mind is not only a strategy for survival, but a philosophy for absolute, enduring influence, leaving observers compelled, rivals cautious, and allies loyal, all while operating with a clarity and purpose that cannot be challenged.